Welcome to the Star Life TV channel. In this video I will talk about the manipulation of mass consciousness and the struggle with oneself in the new video Muse, Will of the People. On June 1, 2022, the British rock band Muse's video for the song Will of the People premiered. Most of the musicians' creations have a deep meaning and in a veiled form reflect everything that happens in the world. The new work of the artists was no exception. At first glance, it seems that the video shows the overthrow of the dictatorial regime and the manifestation of the will of the people. In fact, we see a skillful manipulation of the consciousness of the masses, the power of which is directed in the right direction. The ending of the video does say that any struggle of a person actually happens with himself. The song, Will of the People, is included in the 9th studio album of Muse with the same name. Its release is scheduled for August 26. The director of the new video was Tom Teller, who had previously collaborated with the musicians. In the first seconds of the clip, we see a deserted city in the rays of orange light. Cameras, which are literally hung with poles, immediately catch your eye. All this shows the system of surveillance and control under which people continuously live. The inscription on the billboard is also very symbolic. Most of the people in this world are truly lost. They do not understand and do not realize what they live for, just going with the flow. It is very easy to manipulate such people, introducing any ideas into their minds. That's exactly what happens in the clip. Next, we see how a certain person, remaining behind the scenes, places strange boxes on the threshold of several houses. Each one has a symbol on it. It consists of the letters WOTP superimposed on each other. These letters form the abbreviation for the title of the song Will the People. The objects over which the rebels will gain power will subsequently be marked with exactly the same sign. This moment is one of the key to understanding the meaning of the clip. The will of the people is thrown by someone under the door, like an idea that is being introduced into the subconscious of a person. As a result, people sincerely believe that they are fighting for the truth and act as their heart tells them to. In fact, all this is just the result of skillful manipulations by invisible puppeteers. Inside their packages, the people who received them find metal helmets that completely hide their faces. One of these helmets seems to be put on the viewer, thereby making him an accomplice of what is happening. People in helmets become the same. That is, they turn into an impersonal crowd. Now they all look more like a herd mindlessly following their leader. There is a very interesting moment in the lyrics of the song. The chorus repeats the phrase Will the People many times. At the end, the musicians sing Will of the Sheeple. Thus, the people are compared to the herd, which is easy to manage and manipulate. The man who received the helmet begins to prepare for the uprising. He tosses a can of spray paint into the bag and then turns on the computer. Apparently, the man disables social networks, deleting all information from their servers. It is through social networks that special services control people and receive any information about them. Thus, a person destroys this system, taking, as he believes, a step on the path to freedom. Then the man takes a crossbow and a rope and runs out into the street. Here we see dozens of masked people. They are all dressed the same and act in the same way. On the back of each of them is a symbol that means the will of the people. Now all these people are a crowd united by a common idea. Each of them thinks that this is his own choice and personal decision. In fact, this is a herd that brings destruction and acts according to a predetermined scenario. Masked people leave their symbol everywhere. They draw it with red paint on the walls, and a little later on one of the surveillance cameras. In a fit of anger, the rebels smash the cameras and fill them with a spray can. All these actions represent a rebellion against the dictatorial regime that restricts their freedom. But the participants in the rebellion do not yet realize that they have fallen into another trap. Further in the video, people run out to the square, where a huge statue of the goddess of justice Themis is installed. She is presented as a robot. That is, Artificial intelligence is a kind of balancing force in the world. By common efforts, people fill up the statue to the ground. Next, the camera focuses on the billboard. The inscription on it is the Ministry of Truth, crossed out. Instead, the word liars is written in red. The man makes an indecent gesture in the direction of the shield, as if sending those of whom we are talking about here in the appropriate direction. This scene is very symbolic. On the one hand, the Ministry of Truth can be understood as an authority that the rebels no longer believe. On the other hand, this concept may have a more global and creepy meaning. A little later in the clip, people are shown running up to a mirrored building with the words "Ministry of Truth" written on it. Inside it was lined with huge servers. Something similar could be seen in the films Free Guy and The 13th Floor. In these films, the servers generated virtual reality, which is a kind of computer game. At the same time, the characters living inside her took her for the real world and realized themselves as living people. Thus, the Ministry of Truth is a huge computer that immerses people in an illusion. The inscription "liars" meant that the whole world that we see is a deception and falsehood imposed on us by the system. Masked men burst into the building. They smash the servers and then spill liquid from canisters on the floor and set it on fire. The rebels are trying to get rid of the imposed world of illusions and see the real reality. At the same moment, the lights go out in the city, and the phone in the hands of one of the rebels stops working. He tosses it aside as useless. These frames show that it is gadgets that drive people into the digital matrix. Interestingly, no one meets the masked rebels on the way. There is no one else on the street or inside the building except them. Men fight with cameras, computers and other equipment. All this shows that the main enemy of man is artificial intelligence. The most symbolic in the clip is its ending. The rebels race across the desert and drive up to 3 massive statues. Masked men destroy them, and then mark them with their symbol. The statues seem to symbolize the collapse of the old regime. But they represent the members of the Muse group themselves. When they approach the fallen statues and take off their masks, they see themselves. It turns out that all this time the main characters fought with themselves. It is important to note that the main characters are presented as computer characters. This suggests that everything that happens in the clip was a kind of game. In fact, the struggle between good and evil unfolds inside the consciousness of a person, and it is he who makes a choice in someone's favor. On this, in turn, our reality depends. In the last seconds of the clip, people who fought for freedom line up in the form of the will of the people symbol. All this once again emphasizes their belonging to a controlled herd. In general, the ending of the clip only seems positive. The masked people overthrew the dictatorial regime and gained freedom. However, in reality, they only fulfilled someone's given program, which someone imperceptibly threw to them as an idea. In this way, all wars and revolutions take place on Earth. People are immersed in the game, thinking that they are expressing the will of the people. In fact, they are puppets in someone's hands and do exactly what is required of them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Put likes.